Everyone, this is Deidre or Dee Omahen with Keller Williams Real Estate. I am here with Shasta Sukias, and this interview is a little bit different. I'm interviewing a community influencer, and a lot of people may know her as the Snake Lady. She has been rescuing snakes and educating people about snakes in our community for a while now. And she's the moderator, one of the moderators on the Nocatee Snake ID page on Facebook. So Shasta, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So can you tell us a little bit about the kind of snakes that live in our area and what we need to do with them?
Absolutely. We have, the state of Florida has about 50 native snake species.
Wow.
There are 6 total venomous snake species that live in the state of Florida, but in our immediate area in eastern parts of St. Johns County and these areas in Jacksonville, Duval County, there are only 4 species of venomous snakes. So you are much more likely to encounter a non-venomous snake than you are a venomous one. Those 4 venomous snakes should be, if you can go on to any resource with Fish and Game, with the state of Florida, books, they will show you the identifications of those 4 particular species. So being able to identify those 4 basically eliminates all the others that you might see that are going to be harmless. Now, those 4 species are going to be the Eastern coral snake, the Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake, the Dusky Pygmy rattlesnake, and the Cottonmouth, often referred to as the, well, we'll call them the Cottonmouth for now, the water moccasin. So those 4 are the only venomous snakes that we have in the Nocatee, greater Nocatee area. The Eastern Diamondback is facing decrease in its population, so that would be a fairly rare animal to find. The coral snake is also rarely seen simply because they're a fossorial subterranean animal and they hunt primarily at night. So seeing one of those is a fairly rare occurrence. The 2 more common ones would be the Dusky Pygmy rattlesnake and the Cottonmouth. They tend to be, you know, the cottonmouths tend to congregate near bodies of water and swampland. And then the Dusky pygmies more on the elevated areas. So you might find them in the perimeters of the woods, the preserve area. Yeah. So mainly to keep ourselves safe, we just need to be aware of which snakes are venomous and which ones are not. Again, you're going to come across the vast majority of snakes that are native here are non-venomous, and be aware of which ones are which, and then just use caution. All snakes are wild animals. They need to be treated with respect. So, you know, keep your distance from them. The best policy with snakes is to, if you encounter one, just step back, you know, give 10 to 15 feet away and give them space to retreat into whatever hides that they are looking for. Snakes will move from time to time. You might see one in your yard. You might see one crossing the street. Just give them plenty of space, because the most dangerous snake is the one that is grabbed, stepped on, or harassed. So if we just give them plenty of space and be aware of our surroundings, we'll have a safe encounter with them.
And you know, I hear this a lot from people that live in the Nocatee area, is they think, oh, I should kill the pygmy rattlesnake because it's just going to keep coming back. So what would be the reasoning to not do that?
Well, first reason not to interact with that snake is interacting with snakes causes bites. The vast majority of bites that happen with venomous snakes are because it is an accident from stepping on it or grabbing it, which would be not looking where your hands or feet are going. And the second reason is actually trying to kill the snake. Having a close encounter by trying to kill the snake is a dangerous situation. The best thing to do is to just step away and leave it alone and give it time. The Rattlesnake Conservancy has a 30-30 rule, 30 feet away for 30 minutes. And if it's still there after that time, then you can kind of take the next steps, which would be to either call a relocator, or if you don't want to do that, what it works very well is getting out your garden hose and giving us a light spray with water to get it to move along. And that usually works to get them to move on to the preserve. Snakes generally are like any other wild animal. When they have an interaction with people, they know that they're not in a safe place. So if you saw a raccoon, you know, and you chased him off, he's going to remember that. So generally snakes try to hide and stay away from people. A lot of times I'll see young pygmy rattlesnakes. They're only a year old, maybe a little less. They come up into people's backyards from time to time. And a lot of that is just due to ignorance. They don't know that people live there, or, you know, they just don't have that prior experience. So, you know, spraying them with a hose or having a relocator move them into the preserve generally will keep them in the preserve, because now they know that, well, that's not a safe place to hide, and they'll stay. If they should come back again, spraying them with a hose or having a relocator remove them usually will do the trick.
Okay, that's very helpful. And I know I've heard you talk before, there are a few tips people can do to kind of help keep the snakes from coming into their yards. Can you share a couple of those real quick?
Sure. Snakes are wild animals like all others. You will have a raccoon that may cross your backyard to get from point A to point B, just like a possum will. Snakes are the same way. They are moving about, looking for prey, looking for mates, especially in the springtime, is mating season for snakes. So we can't keep them out of our yards 100%, because they are like any other animal. They're going to cross because they're trying to get from one area to another.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they try to limit being out in the open if possible. So there are a few ways we can discourage them from taking up residence in your yard. And one way to do that is to keep your yard neat and tidy. Making sure that your lawn is trimmed short so that they don't have a place to hide in the grass. Keeping your landscaping to an absolute minimum. You do not want a lot of brush piles. You don't want, you've probably heard of like creeping juniper. Creeping juniper is about this high. It provides lots of undercover space where snakes can set up camp there and they feel safe. Snakes want to feel safe. So if we reduce any kind of clutter, brush piles, firewood piles, brush leaf piles, those sorts of things, keeping your yard clear of those items will reduce the amount of hiding places that are attractive to snakes. Another thing we can do is keep our landscaping trimmed up off the ground. So if you have like a ligustrum tree, rather than having it down, or a shrub, rather than having it touching the ground, trim it up off the ground so that you can see space between the bottoms of the leaves and the ground, so you can see under them. The other thing you can do is keep bird feeders away from your house. Keep them as far away from your house as you can, up against a preserve, or don't keep them at all, because birds come in and they drop lots of seed on the ground, which brings in rodents at night. This area has got plenty of roof rats and Norway rats. And those rats come into yards along with squirrels, and those rodents attract the snakes, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for cover and food sources. So just eliminating those will keep snakes from living full-time in your yard. You may have one or two that'll go through because they're going from point A to point B, but as long as you do not have anything there that's attractive to keep them there, you should be fine.
Okay, great. And then real quick, just like one or two reasons why snakes are good. Why should we not kill them the second we see them?
Sure. Snakes are highly beneficial animals, and we're talking about both venomous and non-venomous snakes. So our harmless ones are just as beneficial to us as the venomous ones. First of all, the Dusky Pygmy and some of the other vipers, their venoms are currently being used in heart medications. So these derivatives are used in antiplatelet drugs, So if someone has a heart attack or is experiencing narrowing, those are the drugs that they're going to be giving you that are derived from Dusky Pygmy venom. So for sure, medications is a big benefit for humans. Second, we have invasive Norway rats. We have our regular native rats. Rats have a habit of getting into houses and chewing on wires. So house fires are caused by wires being chewed. So having snakes around is a tremendous benefit for humans because they keep the rodent population down. Another benefit is Lyme disease is here in Northeast Florida. Eastern Diamondbacks in particular really enjoy eating rabbits and rodents. They eat a lot of the ticks that are on these rabbits and different rodents that are in that stage of Lyme disease. So areas that have enough Eastern Diamondbacks will have a reduction in Lyme disease spread because the snakes eat the prey animal whole, including all of the ticks that it is carrying. Last, our benefits are just they serve as prey for lots of animals: raccoons, eagles, owls, hawks, possums, alligators, turtles. All of these animals prey on snakes, so they are an integral part of the ecosystem. And they also, as I said, serve as predators that help eliminate the rodent population.
Okay, very helpful. So we're almost out of time, so I might have to do a part 2 interview with you about your history of how you got into this. But, I wanted to just let everyone know that you're a resident of Walden Chase, which is part of Ponte Vedra. And I just want to thank you for being such an amazing volunteer. You do all this on your volunteer time to help rescue snakes and help educate. So I want to thank you on behalf of our community.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.